Yes. Good things are going to happen. Call the meeting to order. Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. All right.
I pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good job. All right, thank you so much. Now we will go to roll call, please.
Councilmember Nordby?
Here.
Councilmember Woods?
Here.
Councilmember McKenzie?
Here.
Councilmember Schweer?
Here.
Mayor Monge?
Here. I have a motion to adopt the agenda, please.
So moved.
So move, Councilmember Schweer.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Norby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Consent agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. Item 8, January 20th, 2026, regular city council meeting minutes. February 3rd, 2026, workshop and regular city council meeting minutes. Item B, general claims of $1,382,160.52. Item C, HRA claims of $41,693.83. Item D, electric department Northwood Park area directional drill for the spring of 2026. Item E, electric department Tower Park area directional drill for the spring of 2026. Item F, electric department purchase of power poles. Item G, electric department purchase of overhead and underground triplex wire. Item H, resolution approving appointment to the planning commission. Item I, disposition of surplus equipment replaced under current CIP budget. Item J, resolution accepting donations for December of 2025 and January 2026. Item K, building permits for December of 2025 and January of 2026. Item L, League of Minnesota Cities Municipal Tort Liability Waiver. Item M, certificate of completion, Dignicare properties. And item N, City Hall access system.
Thank you very much. Would anybody like to pull anything at this time? If not, can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
So move, Councilmember Woods.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Schweer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. All right, at 6:33, open to the public. John Schmall.
Hey, John.
Evening. John Schmall, 2750 Chisholm Avenue. If you have put out your garbage containers and you're not going outside again tonight, you might find them dumped over. That wind is something else. Anyway, there was, I guess I can't talk about this subject because it's on the agenda, but it's the first time I've heard about it, and that's the rehabilitation of the hockey rink. And I was thinking that, was it put before the Park Commission, and was there any thought of any other games that in the other 9 months of the year could use a concrete surface? I don't know, maybe multiple pickleball courts, maybe, the Monge culture has some games that St. Paul has set up places to play these games. Maybe that's a concrete surface with some kind of covering over it. Don't know, but I haven't heard of anything that said we have considered to use this in the summer to do other than look at it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dave Nelson, come on down. Yeah. I know. We'll wait for you before we start the timer.
Okay, I'm going to talk about Southwood. My wife and I, we've been working there 15-plus years when I was on the Park Commission and everything. And Vic and Vivian's been working 12-plus years. Mike Keene put in 3 years down there, constantly helping me and Donna. And Terry Furlong put in 2 years. Dave Andren, 3 years. Brooke Danner, which was on the fire department, was another 3 years down there working, helping remove buckthorn. We had huge piles. I got pictures where it took 3 or 4 truckloads to haul the buckthorn away. And the people around the park, there was 3 to 4 years. We also had, I would serve them food and that, and had door prizes. Merit donated, where I worked, donated a lot of stuff. Taco John's and a lot of stores donated a lot of stuff. But let's see. The fire burn, that's one of the important things, especially that first acre. That's what Henry Castle saw when he rode into town. It was the oak savanna. And when I was working there, the first 2 or 3 years, the fire department would burn it. The last 2 years, I asked for them to burn it, but you need to burn it in the spring. That's where you get rid of 60%, 70% of the invasives that the state says we have to remove, like garlic mustard, bellwort, and all that stuff. And that cut down a lot of work that people didn't have to do. We only had to clean up a few small things. And the city helped with wood chips, and I appreciated that. And we spread wood chips, and we had a survey with all the parks. I sat down there Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to catch the people that come through. There were 71 people that come through, and I don't know how many surveys that was filled out. But also the school that is just south of Holloway there, off on I forget what the street is, but anyway, they also use that for their track run, cross country. They come through Maplewood, come through Southwood, and then back out. So it does get used. And out of the people that did the survey, 11 of them are from Oakdale. I says, you got a park right by your house. This is, it's blacktop. We can't walk in there because we got artificial hips and that. Walking on wood chips, you don't get the jar, you don't get the banging and the knees. You'd be surprised. We even had put up owl's nests. We had owls, baby owls, 2 years. We had a guy come from Indiana for the Audubon Society to take pictures of the owls in Southwood. He was sitting there on the bench, and I asked him, where are you from? He had a long lens camera. He says, I'm from Indiana.
Wow.
He
Well,
drove-
we'll talk to the fire department and see if we can maybe get that going again for the burn.
Yeah,
so
and
appreciate it.
goats, if there's something out there, 2 years. I'm also connected with the DNR because we take classes through them. I had 2 grants I took down to the city, never heard nothing back. And the goats will take care of all the work that the people can't now. There's so many people that live around there, we can't do the work no more, like me.
Yeah.
You can't
it's
get
tough
young people
when you get older, yeah.
involved.
All right, we'll look into the goats too.
But
Dave, I know you ran out of time, but send us an email about the things you weren't able to talk about. That way we can get to everything you want to talk about.
Yeah.
Send us an email.
yeah, I'll just give you this here.
Okay.
Okay, now you give me 3 minutes. I give each one of you 3 minutes for questions.
Well, it doesn't work that way because then we get in
Oh.
trouble.
Oh,
Then we get in
well, I'm
trouble.
trying to be fair. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Dave.
Thanks for all your work
Appreciate
down
all
there,
your work
Dave.
you've done over the years with that too. You know, it's greatly appreciated.
Send us out.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. All right. All right, next.
And open it up for the public hearing.
Yep. Open up the public hearing at 6:39.
This is for the Quick Trip Conditional Use Permit Amendment and Site Plan Review.
You going to? All right. Take it away.
I'll warn you all, I'll be talking a lot this evening, so
Okay.
try not to bore you. So this request before you this evening, the first item on the agenda is the conditional use permit amendment and Site plan review for Quick Trip. They have applied for the amendment and site plan approval to add a second car wash bay to the existing store at 2275 Anchor Drive. The reason for the conditional use permit amendment is that the code says any change which involves structural alteration, enlargement, or intensification of the use or any similar change not specifically permitted by the issued permit shall require an amendment to the conditional use permit. So that's why that's part of the application. The site of Quick Trip, I think most people know, is at McKnight, east side, just south of 36. The storage facility is here, McKnight Road on the west, apartments to the south, and again, Highway 36 to the north. Zoning in the area, entire site, entire area is our MU3 corridor mixed-use district, which automobile service, convenience stores, and car washes are all possible uses by conditional use permit. This is an aerial photo recently taken after the facility was built, and that was approved in 2020. I'm going to switch here to a different screen. Here we go. Come on. I've got the plan set here that'll, hopefully it'll load.
There is a new Wi-Fi they put in here, so we have to.
No, I'm plugged in and,
It's better Wi-Fi.
okay, let's see if that'll, yeah, that's not loading. Take it, well, I'll keep going. I was just, wanted to get a couple of images up for, but if you can see where I'm moving the cursor here, unfortunately, the images didn't come up. The second car wash bay would be added in this area, immediately north of the existing building.
And that's where the other one is too, correct?
Correct.
Right next to it, so
Yep.
it'll be side by side.
Side by side, exactly right, Mr. Mayor. Biggest change is it's about 18 feet wide. It would be cutting into this landscape area that's there now, reducing that by a little bit to fit that in. So again, the comprehensive plan and the zoning are all correct for the existing use and the proposed use. Again, not a major change, but since there will be a structural amendment or addition, it requires the expansion. The conditional use permit amendment, we have to review just as if it was a brand-new conditional use permit application. And in short summary, all the findings required by code will be met with this proposal. There's no problems that really staff detected.
Will they
for the
be
use.
putting will they be putting the landscaping back then on the outside of the new one?
Yes, there's a landscape plan as part of the plan set. The addition will meet all our setbacks. There's really no changes to the site plan or layout other than adding the second car wash bay. There's no changes to the driveway or access around the facility. Again, the landscape plan actually shows the planting of 4 trees and 45 shrubs, and I think they're removing 4 trees and 22 shrubs.
Oh, nice.
So it's an excellent improvement, counting plants. One thing I did not see in the plan set was an exterior lighting plan. They are proposing to remove one freestanding light pole, and so we're recommending as a condition that the city receive an updated lighting plan to make sure there is enough lighting on that back side of the site. As far as the architecture, the brick and the roof materials will all match the existing building. I think in the end, we'll never really know it was an addition when it's completed. So that, all the design elements for the architectural review, we find that the addition is acceptable and consistent with the zoning code requirements. It's a short summary. I'll take questions. Otherwise, there's 2 resolutions for your consideration tonight. One is to approve the conditional use permit amendment to allow the expansion of the car wash at Quick Trip. And then the second resolution is to approve the site and design plans for the expansion and remodeling of Quick Trip at 2275 Anchor Drive. And just a note, the reason this is a public hearing this evening here is normally we'd have the public hearing at the Planning Commission meeting, which they did review this and recommended approval. I forgot to mention that. I got messed up on some of the dates, and we didn't have a public hearing at the Planning Commission, but wanted to keep the project moving forward, so we're holding the public hearing tonight. We did notify all the property owners within 350 feet. I did not receive any comments, pro or con, about the proposal. That is my report.
One of the things I'd like to add, Ken did a wonderful report for the Planning Commission. Because of some of the things that we learned today from Ron and Randy in the earlier workshop, and Kenny's going to have to help me with my wording because I'm going to screw this up, but it was reviewed by the watershed, and they are not adding enough impermeable surface to require a new permit or a review of the permit.
Correct.
That's good to know. Thank you for bringing that up.
But on the flip side, has any review of the existing sanitary sewer? Is there any necessary review of that?
The SAC, well, I'll let Ken speak.
Our city engineer did review the plans. They did not comment on that. The only thing they did comment that we want to make sure that when the building permit is applied for, that we collect the correct SAC and WAC charges. And I guess Morgan would like to add a comment or two.
I did receive a message back from, so a condition I put on there was that they would provide verification that they have adequate capacity in their existing sewer and water services, just so we knew if they had to upsize them, because they would have to dig into our streets to do that, right? But I did get a message back saying that they had checked in with their mechanical engineer, the folks that do the plumbing and stuff on this, and they were satisfied with the result that the existing water and sewer service are adequate for the addition. So they have plenty of capacity, and they do not expect to have to upsize anything for this.
Okay, thank you,
Be
Morgan.
interesting to know how many gallons a car wash takes. I always
Yeah.
wondered that. It seems like a bit, but you never know. Any other questions? Okay. I was on the planning commission when we voted for the quick trip, and they run like a Swiss watch. They said 110 days, we're done. Not 111, 110. So they know how to get things done. So I'm assuming it's going to go very quick.
Do you want to make your motion?
Yep.
Don't we have to open it up to?
Well, the mayor opened the public hearing. I don't know
Yep.
if you want to see if there's any other
Any
public
other comments?
That's next. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to discuss? If not, I will close the public hearing at 6:48.
Again, then there's two motions.
Yep.
If you want me to read them, fine.
Yeah, I lost them on my screen, if you don't mind
Okay.
reading them.
So the first motion is motion by and seconded by to approve the resolution 2026-XXX, approving a conditional use permit amendment for the property located at 2275 Anchor Drive. This approval is for the expansion of the car wash at the existing Quick Trip fuel station convenience store and shall be subject to the conditions of approval listed in the resolution.
Thank you. May I have a motion, please?
I'll make a motion.
Councilmember Schweer?
Second.
Second. Councilmember Nordby? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And then the second motion, again, is to approve Resolution 2026-XXX, approving the site and design plans for the expansion or remodeling of the existing Quick Trip fuel station and convenience store located at 2275 Anchor Drive. This approval shall be subject to the conditions of approval listed in the resolution.
Thank you. May I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Councilmember Schweer? Second. Second. Councilmember McKenzie? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, moving on to the city business action items and recommendations. First up is a variance request for 2718 16th Avenue East. Turn that back over to Ken Roberts.
All right. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, this is a variance request for fence height in the front yard of the property at 2718 16th Avenue East. The request is to allow a 6-foot tall fence in the front yard of a residential property. This is the property in question, and it's just immediately west of the Dairy Queen and just north of Highway 36. Dairy Queen shown here. This is taken from the Dairy Queen parking lot looking west. This is the recently completed home that's there. The area in question is right along here where the fence will go. And right along, right through the snow pile, these pictures were taken about 6 weeks ago when we actually had snow on the site. This is another image. Now, this was taken from aerial photo from before the new home was constructed. Again, the fence is proposed to run along this property line, and the 25 feet out closest to 16th is proposed to be 6 feet high. The city code allows for a 4-foot high fence on a residential property in the front yard. So they are asking to, again, have 6-foot tall fence in that 25 feet.
There was a fence there before, correct?
There was.
I think it was at least 6 feet. It was a good size one.
There may have been. We unfortunately don't have good records in any paper records or any electronic records in the city files
Sure.
to verify whose fence it was and how tall it was. And,
Was it in the wrong place? Is that?
well, we
Don't even know that.
We don't
Okay.
even know that.
So now they're starting from scratch, saying, we want a fence, this is where we need to put it.
That's exactly right.
That makes sense. Yep.
So again, the zoning there, Dairy Queen is in our commercial district, MU3, and again, a single family for the single family homes immediately in the area. The applicant prepared their statement explaining how this variance request meets the various requirements in our city code, and I will not read those all to you, but I guess the one thing to think about, I'll go back to this map. If Dairy Queen, if a new commercial development came in for the Dairy Queen site, or a major remodeling was to happen at Dairy Queen, as part of a condition, we would say that they would have to put up a 6-foot tall screening fence all the way out to the front property line between the commercial business and the residential business, or residential property, excuse me. But when the residential property owner wants to put up the fence, they're limited what the fence code says that can occur on a residential property, and that's 6 foot, or actually 7 foot, and then only 4 foot in the front yard. So it's a quandary. If Dairy Queen put up the fence, they could put up 6 feet, and they just get a permit, and away they go. But
So pretty
because,
much the resident is asking what Dairy Queen could do, they're just paying for it.
correct,
Okay, that makes sense then.
it's, when you get
Yep.
uses next to each other, then that's
Yep.
what we run into sometimes. So the city code has various review criteria, and would the proposal be consistent with the comprehensive plan? Will it not adversely affect health, safety, and welfare? Are there special conditions that are particular to the property? I just went through one of those. And as a minimum variance necessary to alleviate a practical difficulty. A little bit of history then, we did publish a public hearing notice. We mailed that notice out to property owners within 350 feet. Planning Commission did have their public hearing on this on February 5th. We did receive one phone call from one owner, that was of the lot to the east, the Dairy Queen owner, that supported the variance request. We've not had any comment.
Sure he did.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
support him too.
We haven't had any comments since. Planning Commission reviewed this and recommended approval of the variance unanimously back on February 5th. And with all that said, staff is recommending City Council approve the resolution with the findings of fact for the fence height variance request for the property at 2718 16th Avenue East.
I have a motion for that. If there's no questions.
So just to confirm, because you had indicated the front of the house, then the side of the house, the back of the house. It is along the east side of the house where the 6-foot fence is being requested.
Right? Yes, right along here, right adjacent to the parking lot.
Any other questions?
Confirmed, thank you.
If not, can I get a motion for that, please?
I'll make a motion.
Councilmember Schweer.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Nordby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
All right, item B is outdoor recreation grant opportunity for Casey Lake Park Hockey Rink. Turn it back over to you, Ken.
No. All right. Staff is bringing this before you tonight to have some feedback and hopefully positive support from the council for applying to the DNR for an outdoor grant for the Casey Lake Hockey Rink. We were recently notified just a month ago or 6 weeks ago that the DNR has grant opportunities for outdoor recreation that they support. They have grants that they provide throughout the state. And we've included much information in the memo, and I won't go through all those, but here are some of the highlights. Staff, and primarily our Public Works staff, has identified that the hockey rink, Casey Lake, is more than 30 years old. Whoops, too far. Sorry about that. Come back. The surface area where the rink is flooded is uneven, and it's a grass surface. The boards are uneven, and as you maybe can tell from the pictures, they're not in the best of shape. The lighting is out of date and is not ADA, the rink itself is not ADA accessible. Public Works staff has notified us that they have a difficult time flooding the rink because of the uneven surface and replace some of the boards each year as may be needed. So the outdoor recreation grants from the DNR are intended to increase and enhance outdoor recreation facilities in local parks throughout the state. They are a matching grant of up to 50% of project cost with a maximum grant amount of $500,000. Preliminary grant application is due to the DNR by February 27th of this year. And if we submit the preliminary grant application, they provide feedback to staff and the city saying, to help the city, strengthen the application, maybe fill in some blanks that aren't complete or add information that might be missing. The final grant application is due back to the DNR by March 31st. The DNR will award grants in the summer of 2026, and all project work must be completed by June 30th of 2028. So there's a 2-year window there. What staff has identified that the grant could be used for in this case would be new dasher boards around the rink with 2 standard access gates and a double access gate for maintenance. Proposing a 5-foot concrete hockey surface for the rink. That will probably require some soil correction because the soils there, by all indications, aren't in the best condition for pouring a concrete slab. There would be new LED lighting. It would be adding a driveway down from the parking lot to the rink with the potential for parking spaces near the rink. As part of the grant, if we go forward with it, the DNR requires that all facilities in the park be ADA accessible or be upgraded to be ADA accessible as part of the grant application. Even though we might not be wanting to touch those things or we're not proposing any work on those, that is a requirement. And I'll touch on that in a little bit more. And we've reached out to the Ramsey Washington Watershed District, had actually a good conversation with those folks this afternoon, and they've expressed an interest in a partnership, and they identified there might be grant opportunities through the Soil Conservation District to help with some of the site work dealing with restoration, stormwater management, native plantings, and that kind of thing. That we believe if we include that in the grant application will look stronger to the DNR. And as well, if we can get grant money to help pay for some of the site work and finishing work, And that's a 100% grant. There's no matching element in that if this goes forward. So Casey Lake Park is the area in the red boundary here. And more specifically, we'll zoom in a little bit here. This is the rink area. This would be the access driveway down to the rink, so vehicles can get in and out for flooding and maintenance. There'd be 2 or 3, 4 parking spaces here. And this is really, I gotta be cautious here. This is really high level. There's not been any survey work done. We're just working off the aerial photos. But we need to put some plans together to submit the grant application to provide you with some information on what we're looking at. Some of the sites that we've identified that would need ADA improvements are, for example, making a connection to the sand volleyball court off the path here, possibly moving the fishing pier to a location where the slope isn't so steep going down to it, so that can become accessible, fully accessible. There would be a connection have to be made to this north playground off the parking lot and the trail. And most of these are off existing trails, so they're not major improvements, but they would be some. There would have to be some ADA improvements made around the backstop of this field, and this is what we've identified so far. But the main focus would be in and around the rink. The watershed district is interested in what plantings would happen here between this, there's this ditch between our pond that it goes out to Casey Lake, which really, I think council knows, is really not a lake. It's a 4-foot deep wetland. But it's still called a lake, but it really functions more as a wetland, and at least in the watershed mines. So there could be different types of plantings here. Based on the size and scope of the work, we may have to do some kind of a infiltration basin. There might be a chance for pollinator gardens, and those would all be things that the Conservation District could, sounds like, be a likely partner in, because we're doing more site restoration, site improvements to help the water runoff and the natural features of the site. That's kind of a next step that we would dive into if this moves forward. So examples of what new or more recently installed hockey board systems work with, it would have full fencing around each end. Again, this shows with a concrete slab. And the advantage of the concrete slab is a couple of things for sure. If it's done right and the soils are corrected, it stays level. So the water, you don't end up with 8 inches of ice at one end and 2 inches at the other. With the concrete surface, it's a lighter surface, so it doesn't absorb as much heat, so the ice won't melt as fast, versus if you have blacktop or dirt, it just melts faster because it gets hotter, warmer sooner. And then it could be striped for summer activities, whether it's roller hockey or some other outdoor summer sport. It could be used in the summer, where now with the dirt and the grass, I don't think there's much play in there unless you want to ride a BMX bicycle around it or something. So there would be opportunities for that. We haven't fully identified those, but it could be used 12 months of the year. Next. So we've got some real preliminary estimates. Some are better than others. The dashboard systems, I want to give Randy a full credit here. He's done a lot of legwork on this and getting some numbers for us. The dashboard system is about $145,000. The concrete for the hockey rink surface, including the soil correction, about $220,000. Replacement lighting, got some numbers from our electric department just today. Round number of about $25,000. We don't have numbers yet on all those ADA concrete and asphalt connections, improvements that we need to for the other facilities in the park. Our best guess right now is it's about a $450,000 project all in. Might be a little more than that, I caution, but that's our best estimate at this point. And the CIP has identified $500,000 in the budget for 2028 for Casey Lake Park active playground improvements, which, as I understand, includes the hockey rink. I know the Parks Commission did look at this. And let's see. Yes. and the grant information was presented to them, and they recommended the city council approve staff applying for the grant. So we have a resolution for your consideration, and that approves city staff applying to the DNR for the outdoor recreation grant for the restoration of the Casey Lake Park hockey rink. If it's approved and we apply, it doesn't mean we're going to get it. It doesn't mean we'll get the dollar amount that we hope to get. And if we go forward and we start getting into this, and we do get the grant and find that the costs have gone, maybe they're $700,000 or $800,000 instead of $500,000, we can turn down the grant. It's not the best, but just because we get approved, we still have legwork to do. We'd have to come back to the council with some firm budget numbers and a resolution accepting the grant at that time. So there's more to do, but the DNR requires this first resolution to even submit the application. So that's why we're here before you this evening.
Thank you. I know when we did Housy Park, some of the residents were concerned because we lost our baseball diamond down there because it wasn't ADA. So as far as the ADA, if we do the soccer, like we're talking about putting soccer, are we gonna have to do some pass to that too as well then? Or is it, do we know that?
Up in this area?
Whenever
We're just identifying that as an open play field right now and with no
Okay,
improvements.
so any ideas on what we're thinking as far as for the ADA stuff, what it's gonna run? 50,000? Any ideas?
That's kind of where I'm putting it.
About 50?
About that total.
Okay,
There's not a lot, it's just small asphalt
okay.
trails.
So that makes sense then. Thank you. I was just making sure that, I know we had to lose something the last time, so I want to make sure that it seems like it sounds doable then. Any questions? Anybody else?
It sounds like, I was gonna say, it just sounds like moving the fishing pier is part of the ADA compliance piece.
That, if I may, so I understand it, that the slope down to the pier here is not ADA compliant, and this slope is more gradual over here. So it'd be easier to meet the 5% maximum slope. But one thing we haven't done is any survey work.
Oh, okay.
And so that would be part of, if we move forward, we would have survey work done of all the rink itself and the rink area. We're hoping to maybe shift it a little bit to the east, southeast, so maybe there could be a larger buffer area along this ditch, again, to help with the watershed district and the conservation district. But these are, again, high level, but that's something we will look at because there's the boat ramp there by the fishing pier now.
There's a what?
There's some kind of a boat ramp or an access that I think the weed cutter can get in there.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I've never seen a boat on Casey.
Yeah, well, for the canoes. Where, it's my understanding that this is more gradual and would be easier to meet the ADA requirement.
Okay.
Those are, again, details we have to start looking at with the benefit of survey work.
Okay, thank you.
At this point in time, we just need to vote whether we want you to go move forward and apply for the grant.
Correct.
And
There's-
neither here nor there, we may not be even guaranteed it, but this sounds fantastic, and we may get it, we may not, but it's,
But if we do get the grant and we want to move forward, we have to remember now the city's committing to spending $200,000 or $250,000 as their part of the project.
And we have 5.
as does Park and Rec,
Yes,
because it's coming out of their budget.
yes.
I do have a question about the grant, because this is a matching grant and everything has to be ADA. Can the grant money go towards the ADA approval, or is all the ADA approval on the city and just the grant goes towards a structure?
It's my understanding that all the park improvements would be eligible, including the ADA improvements that they require.
Thank you.
That's good to know. All right. Can I get a motion to go with the grant?
I'll make a motion to go forward with applying for that grant.
Yep. Thank you. Councilmember Schweer.
Second.
Second, Councilmember Woods. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Next up is the mobile food vendor ordinance update. I'll turn that back to community development or community.
You need a seventh
You're
inning
up again.
stretch?
I'm good, thank you. Staff is bringing before you some updates to the mobile food vendor ordinance. The reason we're bringing this for you is we, the city, have a little more than a year of experience with the mobile food ordinance, food vendor ordinance. It was adopted just a year ago, February 4th, 2025. And staff has found there are some little changes that they're recommending. And so for example, the definition of mobile food vendors was too specific. Did not include things, non-permanent structures such as tents, which do require a license and inspection by the city. Fire department has asked us to add language to identify the type of inspections city staff will complete as part of their licensing, the city licensing requirements. In the existing ordinance, previous expiration date for the licenses was April 30th, and I think that was adopted thinking, well, most of the events occur in the summer, so they get a license in May, and then that carries them through to the end of the year, end of the next year. But after using it, it is determined it's kind of got clunky. We have people coming in January and February wanting to get their licenses, and then they expire in the end of April, and then they have to reapply. And for all other licenses in the city, I think they all pretty much expire on December 31st. So our proposal is to change the date so they line up on a calendar year. And we're proposing to add in some language about mobile food vendors that intend to stay in one location for more than 7 consecutive days. And these would require a site plan written permission from the property owner or business owner, and as well as permission from any other food service establishment within 200 feet of a location. It also would require a zoning review prior to the city issuing the permit. And right now, we don't have any specific provisions for long-term mobile food vendors. Now, you could argue that if they're there long-term, maybe they're not so mobile, but that's a discussion we could have another day. So there is a proposed ordinance that's attached, and one thing that was brought to my attention over the weekend is that, so we're adding a definition of long-term mobile food vendor. The language that's highlighted in yellow on the screen is a change that staff made this morning, because the language down below here that's struck out, if you read that a certain way, you could say, well, if they applied for, they would automatically receive a mobile food vendor license from the city, and that was not our intent. So we've changed it to what's in the yellow there to say, they shall apply for and receive a mobile food vendor license from the city before operating in North St. Paul. So to make it clear that it has to be submitted and approved by the city, and it's just not automatically guaranteed. And so we're hoping that's clearer for everybody. So that's one change from what went out last week in the packet. We've got a whole bunch of other language in here. Some of these are the highlight. We've got requirements again for the long-term mobile food vendors, including, as I touched on earlier, requiring a site plan showing where the trailer or tent or whatever will be set up. The city zoning review, the written permission from business owners of the property, written permission from all other food service businesses within 200 feet of the proposed site, and any other information the city deems necessary, which kind of depends. These are a little tougher to read, but these are the highlights from the ordinance. We're making it clear that the city requires fire department safety inspection with a completed inspection report for all mobile food vendor licenses. And this, again, shows the date changed to December 31st for the license. And if a mobile food vendor is found operating in the city without a license, we clarified that they may obtain a license and pay the application fee to the city, but that they will pay double the ordinary city application fee, and that all other provisions of our ordinance will be in place and applicable in those cases. Those are the real high-level highlights of our proposed changes. Again, this was worked on with Sarah and Jordan in my office, and with input from the fire department. We're all on board with it. I'll stand for questions. Otherwise, we're recommending the council adopt the ordinance that approves the proposed amendments to the mobile food vendor ordinance as outlined in the report.
Any questions, anyone?
I have one question. Can you explain to me how the dates will work for the license? Because I know some other places have like an overlap period instead. So can you explain to me how the dates work for what is approved?
I don't know for sure, Councilmember Nordby, if we received any applications yet this year. And part of the reason we want to get this before the council now is to get it in place. So as all the summer events come up, we're ready to go. Yeah, so I don't think we'll have an issue with that this year because I don't think we've taken in any, or if we haven't issued them yet, waiting to get this adopted. So if it's approved, any of the permits or licenses going now into the coming year will end December 31st, and then January 1st, they'll have to reapply for the 2027.
Is there, if I got it in September, is there any proration, or you just pay for that license? So if it goes September to December 31st, then is it the same?
Yeah, we don't have any provisions for partial or prorated.
So it's the same if you do it in September or if you do it in January?
That's a lot of math, and
That makes sense. I just want to be clear with everybody that it's like, well, I don't need my permit till September, so then they come in September and think they don't have to pay the year. So I think it's just good to be clear that it just runs straight through.
I wouldn't mind a provision if staff would think it's acceptable of anyone getting their license in December. It goes till January of the next year. Or it goes till December 31st of the next year. And that's what I was asking, because I know that's how some cities do it. So if I got my permit this year on December 15th, it doesn't expire on December 31st of the same year. So it goes a year and a half a month.
So up to 13 months.
Yep.
We can certainly make that change if it's not too extra complicated. But I think Jack might have a comment. No?
Mr. Mayor, members of council, usually what I have seen in a situation like that is if someone is coming in to apply for a permit on December 15th, for something like this, they're probably not going to be using it on December 16th. So usually what we would do is we would say they should apply for a next year's permit. We would issue a permit effective January 1st, and then it would just run for that year. And then, that would be handled sort of at an administrative level. It would still be following the ordinance as drafted here. It would be a permit for a calendar year. But we would be able to issue, so like if someone wanted to use it for the entire year, they could apply for it early, and we would issue it effective January 1st so that there wasn't any interruption in that.
Is that what you were?
Well, my thought is, let's say we did a fire and ice event at Housy Park for New Year's. If they came in and applied on December 31st for having their food truck there for the 31st and the 1st, I don't mind saying the permit would work for the rest of December and all of next year. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I hear you on that piece. I think that's in all due respect, I think it's pretty intricate. I mean, I'd make them apply again. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what we have.
To pose a counter hypothetical, I mean, imagine if someone says, well, I only went to one fire and ice on January 1st, and I didn't do anything for the rest of the year. Can I get my money back? They get to decide how many events they want to use that permit for. Although obviously, leave it to the council to decide how you want to organize that.
And I guess maybe I wasn't making myself clear. I think they still would have to pay for both years, but I didn't want to make them do the application process for both years. Just, so there'd be no change in fee. If they applied beginning of December and wanted to event that current year, they still have to pay. I just didn't want to make them have to do all the paperwork and all the applications for the 2 years.
The only thing I'd be concerned about is if there's a change in insurance.
Okay.
If, depends when their insurance runs out. Otherwise, I can't imagine staff would have a problem reusing the same paperwork. It's things, well, we don't know what we don't know.
There's always the one-off stuff as well. Somebody gets a new food trailer or something to that effect that we just didn't want to miss those smaller things.
I also agree with Councilmember Schweer that it's fairly intricate and it's probably not worth the debate.
It makes them come the next December 31st because they already got the permit.
Valid question.
All right, are there any other questions? If not, do you have the ordinance up, or I can just say mobile food vendor ordinance update, or what do you? You can read it, I don't have a
Yes,
screen.
the recommendations on the screen that we're recommending council
Oh, there it is
adopt the
back.
ordinance. And that ordinance approves amendments to the mobile food vendor ordinance as outlined.
Thank you very much. May I have a motion, please?
So moved.
So moved. Councilmember Woods.
Second.
Second. Councilmember McKenzie. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
All right, on to our next ordinance update. Item D is zoning ordinance text amendment. Back to you, Ken.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, prepared for your consideration this evening, a series of zoning ordinance text amendments. This is part of the ongoing work with the Planning Commission to improve and update the zoning code. There's really 3 sets for your consideration tonight, and I'll go through those. Planning Commission did review these on February 5th, had the public hearing, and they made a motion to recommend to the City Council approval of the 3 sets of zoning ordinance text amendments. So what are they? The first one, we're proposing some amendments in the definitions. We're proposing to add the definition of bay and fenestration, which are for architectural terms for primarily in our downtown area. And then some clarifying language for limited production and processing. And I'll find, let me see if I can find, see if this, no. See if this will open. Okay. This is the ordinance in ordinance form. It's probably easier to read than on the PowerPoint screen. So those, okay, so 2 new definitions to be added, and then limited production and processing. Clarify that those are for uses that produce minimal off-site impacts due to their limited nature and scale, that are compatible with office, retail, and service uses, and may include wholesale or off-premise sales. And then the other language there is the existing language. So it's strengthening and clarifying that definition. So that's the first change, or part of the first change. The second section of changes is in the use table, and this is several pages, and I'll hit the most important changes that we're proposing. The term manufactured housing was not real clear. I think the intent when it was written was manufactured home parks, And that was listed as conditional use in our R1 district. I don't recommend that, and I don't see that happening in our single-family district, so I'm proposing that that be stricken from the code. And I'm going to jump down to the next one. We're proposing in bold here some additional words for institutions, clarify that it includes churches and places of worship, adding the term public here to make sure we're talking about public service facilities, and don't want anybody to think, well, I have a private service facility, so that should be allowed, and that's not the intent there. Hospitals and one. That was listed as a possible use in our MU3 district. I don't ever foresee a hospital being built in North St. Paul with Woodwinds and Regions and St. John's, so
You have to be 20 stories in
Yeah.
a hospital there.
I'm just saying, let's just strike that from the code because it doesn't seem necessary to have it in there. Adding in the restaurant, we would include delis, and adding bakeries, again, as permitted uses. Just calling those out to make sure that it's really clear that that's what would allow by permitted use. Adding the term gallery here for the artisan studio makerspace, again, that for clarity of what could happen, or hopefully add. Adding some examples for retail sales, including but not limited to bookstores, florists, hardware store, jewelry store, music store, office supply store, photographic and video supplies. Clarifying for the automobile that we're really talking about motor vehicles, because you can have cars, trucks, SUVs that are motor vehicles. So again, changing those terms to make sure they're reflective of what's really happening. For anything where it said motor, automobile, changing that to motor vehicle. And then this now has the automobile service station convenience store now says motor vehicle service station with fuel sales or EV charging stations with or without retail convenience store to make it broader, more encompassing. Again, adding potential uses to limited production, so that's called out more. So to provide more examples is, I guess, the way to explain that. Let's see. Adding language that composting as an accessory use is only for the residential districts or residential use. We don't want a commercial composting site setting up in a residential facility, in a residential property. Clarifying that it could be yard or garage sales, depends how you term it. So those are all changes in the use table. It's more clarity, hopefully, than anything. And then because of those changes with the motor vehicle, we have to change how they are described elsewhere in the ordinance, and so that's section 3. Section 4 is the striking of the hospital, because that's no longer going to be a use, so that gets saved and reserved. And then the next section is a pretty big one. The 15408 is our overlay districts, and we're proposing several changes here. A couple of things. It's the downtown district. It's not a historical commercial district, at least in the zoning code. So we add downtown in there. And then this, starting here on this page and then going forward, I'm proposing, and the Planning Commission recommended approval of these, some design elements. We're proposing to add in some design elements into the zoning code that come primarily from our downtown design manual. My thought with that is that this will codify these design standards. On the rare case that someone might challenge us and say, well, if they want to do a project downtown and we would refer to the downtown design manual, they'll say, well, that's nice, but where's the code say I have to do that? Where if we put it in the zoning code, it's stronger, and it makes it clear, here's our design expectations in the downtown zoning district primarily. Excuse me. So this one first talks about infill buildings and the setbacks, that they must provide a continuous and flush to the sidewalk facade and along the street. Although we do say civic and institutional uses are exempt from this requirement, so if there was a city hall or fire station project, again, they wouldn't have to meet that requirement. And again, most of these changes or proposed additional language are primarily from the downtown design manual. It's not making anything up new, but again, putting them into the zoning code. That if a single building facade shall not be longer than 75 feet on Margaret Street or on 7th Avenue. And this gets into why we add the term bays in the definitions. If a building is greater than 25 feet in width, there must be bays or defined sections established every 25 feet, and there shall not be 2 adjacent bays with blank walls. Adding that the entrances must be clearly marked, again, primarily for the businesses that have what we call a back entrance, probably on Sepulveda as an example. And then section 4 here is a whole bunch of words about downtown design requirements. And again, referring to the downtown design manual, but also codifying them in the zoning code. Talking about materials and architectural features, materials, the amount of stone and brick that will be required, calling out materials that are not allowed in the downtown district, unadorned plain or concrete block or masonry units, corrugated metal unless used as a limited architectural element, reflective glass, vinyl, fiberglass, asphalt, or fiberboard siding. Those are all things now that are not allowed in the downtown. Excuse me, then we talk about how the renovations should restore the architectural details of the buildings, that any renovation or restoration must be designed and constructed to be compatible with the original scale, massing detail of the existing building. We got more about how much trim and the materials of trim that can be used here in item H. Standards for the roofs on the infill buildings and how they have to match, be related to the size and proportion of adjacent buildings. Doors and windows, that the buildings must be comprised of at least 70% transparent window material on ground level facades facing streets. And some other standards there. The interconnected street and alley network, the existing street and alley network must be preserved and extended as part of a new development or site redevelopment, and that the city discourages the development of new cul-de-sac streets in the downtown district. I would like to think we wouldn't have to put that in the code, but we better just in case, because we never know what might come up. Added some clarifying language about the screening of equipment and service areas for, again, trash, recycling, storage, loading docks, that kind of thing. The screening of rooftop equipment is required. That would be reviewed as part of any project. And that is a very quick highlight of the ordinance. The Plan Commission did review this twice. We had, at the January meeting, I presented it to them, got their feedback on it. They were generally supportive of it. Brought it back to them on February 5th. We had the public hearing, and they recommended approval. And so that is our recommendation for you this evening. It's a long ordinance, but that is a series of changes that we are recommending to the city council. So adopt the ordinance as presented that approves the zoning ordinance text amendments that amends various sections of chapter 154 of the zoning ordinance. And that, I'll take questions.
Any questions, anybody?
I just wanted to say, Ken, thank you very much. You did wonderful presenting this to the Planning Commission, and I was very proud of the Planning Commission. They had some wonderful dialogue that went back and forth that did result in some changes. So I thought Ken's doing a great job on bringing some of the stuff forth to the planning commission. So thank you.
I guess the only questions I have are, if we codify all this, that all the existing buildings downtown meet these codes currently, right? That there's nothing, I mean,
Not necessarily.
we're not making codes that basically say you're gonna have to immediately make changes or anything to the existing buildings.
No. Councilmember Woods and members of the council, this would only be, these standards would only go into effect for newer remodeling projects going forward.
Oh, okay,
Anything existing is allowed to remain. We can't retroactively go back and say, no, now you gotta change something. But
okay.
if they come in for a major remodeling or a rebuild or a brand-new project, then these will be the standards.
Okay.
What are the roofs like on all these older buildings that have been in town for 80 years? I mean, a lot of them are they been upkept by their building owners, or are they in bad shape, good shape? Has anybody from our city been up on any of them, or?
I'm not aware of
Oh,
anybody.
yeah, I'm just curious. I've been around here a long time. I guess you see all the buildings and the fronts look okay, but you wonder what the roofs are like.
Well, we talked to the one that owns Sweetie's Candy.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
he wants to go for the grant to do roof improvements.
Right,
So
that's what I'm
that's what we
thinking.
did. We opened up for the EDA, we opened up the facade to be a little bit more broad, and probably was roofing, and he was interested in that.
Right.
Because it is a big expense
It is, yeah.
they have to cut somewhere to be able to do that. Nothing else? Can I have a motion for this, please? For the facade text improvements.
So moved?
So move. Councilmember McKenzie, second Nordby. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. One last one for Community Development Director Roberts is sump pump discharge agreement with Article 7.
And sorry, I don't have a fancy presentation for this one. But I'll give you the highlights. What we're proposing here is an agreement that would be between the city and the developer and the owners of Article 7 apartment building located at 2515 7th Avenue. We've been working, the city and the owner, to resolve an issue with the existing sewer discharge system in the basement. The system discharges groundwater that collects in the basement of the building into the city sanitary sewer, and that's because there may be, well, we don't know for sure, still harmful chemicals in the ground from when the site was redeveloped. And if there are any, that water can't discharge out in the storm sewer like any other basement at your home sump pump would be doing. It has to be gone, it has to be put in the sanitary sewer and treated properly by the Met Council and their waste services. So the developer had been getting their sump pumps were running and they were getting water in the basement, and they made a connection into our city sanitary sewer. Unfortunately, they didn't tell the city and didn't get a permit. So now we're trying to resolve the issue, and working with Jack on this, they came up with that, well, a couple of things. First of all, the amount of flow that's being discharged can vary. There was early estimates, it could be many, maybe thousands of gallons each year. We had city staff check the sump pump last fall when it was dry and there was nothing. So it's really variable. So the only way to know for sure is that there be a meter installed on the discharge pipe that will measure the flow that's going into the sanitary sewer. And the owners agreed to install that. From that, then we can determine some accurate billing, because when the extra flow is going into the sanitary sewer, that's going downline and then would hit our city sewer metering station, and the city would get charged for that extra flow. Because right now, sanitary sewer is charged based on your water usage. Well, this isn't using water, it's just additional sewage flow going in the sewer pipe. So they'll be setting up a meter, and then hopefully it can be set up so it's remote read and doesn't need any special in-person reading, but we've, with the agreement, made it that if it does need to be read, it would be read quarterly by city staff, get the numbers, and then they would be sent a bill from a utility, or from our utility billing staff. So the agreement outlines the roles and responsibilities, who's going to do what, and that the owner agrees to install the meter, get the permits, agrees to have the city read it, agrees to have the billing done quarterly, and allow for staff to read the meter if need be, or if remote read is possible, then that'll be acceptable to the city. We just don't know for sure yet if we can get it compatible. So there's a resolution in your packet tonight authorizing the connection to the city sanitary sewer system, and then that will be formalized with the sump pump discharge agreement, which is also in your packet tonight. So that is that. I'll stand for questions. I know Jack is well aware of this project too, as he helped put the agreement together.
Well, it makes sense if you have, estimated thousands and you win in the fall and it's zero. Your meter is desperately needed. You don't want to try to pay a average, especially if you're dry one half of the season, so it makes sense. Any questions?
I have one. Because this involves SAC charges, does the Met Council have to review this?
They would need to get a permit for the meter, and then we'll notify the Met Council and we'll see what they do for a determination. Because it's not based on water flow, I'm not sure what they will say, but that's a contingency we have to look at.
And Councilmember Nordby, the agreement is clear that any of those fees that are incurred are also the responsibility of the property owner.
Thank you.
No other questions? Can I get a motion for the sump pump discharge agreement? Article 7.
So moved.
So move. Councilmember Woods.
Second.
Second, Councilmember, I almost did it.
Schweer?
Schweer, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
You can. Great job.
I did notice that we do have one of our planning commission members that just signed up out there, so I wanted to, were you there for this part of it when they were going through it at all? No. No? Okay. Welcome.
Two.
Are both of them here?
Yeah.
You come up and take a second and introduce yourself, both of you guys? I only interviewed with one, so I apologize. So I'd like to take time to thank you as far as I think as a council for you to be able to do something like this. It's very nice to acknowledge and just.
That's extremely kind. My name is Vito Soro. My family and I moved in on Margaret Street in July of 2024, and thrilled to be here. Plan on raising our family here. We've got 3 young kids, and I think it's folks ought to get involved and be active in their communities. I think that's a low bar, and I'd like to clear it. So, thank you.
Well, thanks for.
Thank you.
Thanks for signing up.
Yeah.
You, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome. Hi.
My name is Pete Marcaccini. I moved into the Sentinel residence about March last year.
Nice.
And I found, I lived in Maplewood for 20 years and Oakdale for 20 years and had never
the difference,
been,
huh?
never been to a car show, and now they come to me.
Oh, nice.
I really appreciated that, and I've been impressed by the management of North St. Paul. I thought I'd get a little more involved.
Well,
Excellent.
Thank you.
Welcome.
thank you very much. We appreciate you guys. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
All right. So reports from city manager. We had our staff meeting today. Fire department's been busy. They had a couple of fires they've dealt with. One was in our city and another was in Roseville over the weekend. We've been busy on week 3 now of the security access system that we're having installed here at City Hall. It's coming along well, getting in the software in place at this point. Finance is getting ready for the third meet with the auditors. They'll be here in March. They'll be here maybe about a week, and then they'll wrap it up for 2025, move on to 26. Electric's been busy with working on system maintenance, testing the switches on the overhead lines and the underground lines as well, making sure everything works when we need it to. They have an apprentice that's really close to graduating out of being an apprentice and being a journeyman lineman, so that's great. Doing really well. Public Works covered most of their stuff up here, but the rinks are now closed with all the nice weather we've been having, so that's a wrap for that. And Community Development is putting together, we got 7 proposals turned in today for the RFP that we put out for the solid waste contract, so we got a group that we're putting together, and we'll get the information back to you guys for making the decision. Move on from there. That's all I got for you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the updates. Council, commissions, committees. Councilmember Schweer.
Don't have anything on my end except for there will be a meeting next Wednesday here in council chambers at 6:30
Thank you very much.
for Parks and Rec, I should be clear.
Our EDA meets March 10th, next one for us.
Thank you very much.
Arts and Culture will meet here the first Wednesday of the month, whatever that happens to be for March. So,
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, fellow council members, very much. You just voted on a lot of stuff today that came out of the planning commission, so I appreciate you taking the time to review and ensure they did a good job. Thank you to the new planning commission members, and the next planning commission meeting will be March 5th.
Thank you very much. General business.
I attended the fire appreciation dinner. Was it last Friday? These weekends are flying by.
Fridays ago, yeah.
But it was a lovely night to be out there, support the fire department, and appreciate them for all their efforts. In fact, it was the same day that there was a fire in North St. Paul, and they all came together that evening. So wonderful night, good dinner, good company.
Great. Thank you.
I have nothing.
Okay. You, sir.
I've got nothing as well.
I would just like to wish everyone a happy Lunar New Year.
There you go.
Do you want to do anything about 120?
Oh,
Kind of a wrap up for that, or it just keeps coming and coming, I guess. There's well, at least say we met.
yeah, the mayor, myself, and city manager Brian Frandl on last Wednesday were at a meeting for 120. We got an update on some of those projects. I think the highlight to come out of there is they're going to be starting working 694 North fairly soon. I believe that will start in the year of 2026. And as far as the 36-120 interchange and the 120 corridor south of 694, still fairly up in the air. They are at the planning stages, and their main goal is to start an 18-month study for the corridor, and with the goal of getting the 36 interchange. I believe that was within the next 5.
2031 is a date they were throwing out. I
Yeah.
think.
Did I miss? Good call. Yeah.
Appreciate that. Okay. Myself, I also went to the firemen. I was there for the appreciation, and our guys are great, and it was very nice to be able to celebrate with them. And we definitely got a good crew when it comes to on-call fire, and just the tempo of them and just the camaraderie. It's very good that they're all. It was a very, very nice event. So, if anything else, I'll call for adjournment.
So moved.
So I'll move. Councilmember Schweer, she's my gal tonight. You're on it.
Second.
Second, Councilmember McKenzie. All those in favor say aye.
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 Thank you. Thank you, kid. I love a fast one.